Hello and welcome back to the fourth Down Focus podcast. I am joined as always with Kian, and we're without Max. He's been lazy. He's got a bit of a cold, so he's
No,
decided
no.
not to come on the
Say it how
podcast.
it is. Say it how it is. He's being a funny.
Yeah, he's been a bit of a fanny to be honest, but we'll digress and we'll move on. To be fair, he hasn't missed one for a while, so we'll let him off.
No, but then he is also not a very busy man. So
No, he's not a very busy man, so there's not really surprise to the missed one, but there we are. But we'll get straight into it. And you may have seen on our socials, but we normally post these on Thursdays, but we were quite busy yesterday, so we didn't have time. So what we thought we'd do is we post a prediction for Thursday Night Football on our socials. If you didn't see Fourth Down Focus on Twitter, go give it a follow. We all predicted the Broncos. As much as it was horrific, it was the Broncos who won in the end, so we're all 1-for-1 so far.
let me just have a quick recap of this game for everyone that didn't watch it. I know we'll do a lot more on this on Tuesdays, but I'm on here talking about Daniel Carlson losing those games. That'd have been a massive win. As much as it wouldn't matter to our season, disrupting their season is just as good as us winning the Super Bowl. And then when he dragged it one wide, it was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And if Geno Smith if he couldn't walk, they'd still put him in the game. And I'm fed up. Let's get on to predictions. But the defense played really well last night and was let down by a poor offense again.
Yeah, I was going to make a point, but I'm going to save it because it's going to be my point for one thing we learned, so I'm going to wait. We'll go straight into it, and I'm going bold off the bat. I'm going with the Falcons over the Indianapolis Colts. Now, my justification for this is the Colts just had their worst game of the season by a country mile. Daniel Jones started playing like Daniel Jones again with 5 turnovers against Steelers defense, which has been, I believe, bottom 3 in the league so far this season up until that game. So, interesting. But also, the Falcons have their horrific and then unbelievable games in spells, and I think they've had a couple of horrific ones now. So I think they're going to bounce back with a win. I just think this could be the beginning of the end for the Colts. I know they traded for Sauce Gardner, which hinders me a bit because obviously the defense was not very good against Steelers, and he helps. But I also don't think, as I said in our what one thing we learned video, if you haven't seen that already, go watch it. But I did say I'm not convinced Sauce Gardner's worth what they gave up for him either. So I think, again, as Max says before, there's always one shit team that wins for no reason, and I think this week is going to be the Falcons. So give me the Falcons to beat the Colts.
I just think, you made a good point there. That was the Colts' worst game last week by a mile this year. But this, for me, is where we see whether Daniel Jones is still the Daniel Jones mentally that he was in New York, or whether he has improved. He had them months with Kevin O'Connell, who improves every quarterback he touches. So is he going to come into this game and be able to switch off what he did last week and turn back on and be the quarterback that he has been so far this season? I'm going to guess that maybe he will be able to. Don't get me wrong, if he comes into this, throws a load of picks, I probably won't pick them a lot for the rest of the season. But this is, for me, a massive game in the Colts season. It could be a big turning point. As for the Falcons, I struggle to pick them in any game. They're just so inconsistent. It feels like shooting yourself in the foot. So give me the Colts, but I genuinely think this could be, it's got potential to be the best international game so far this season. It could genuinely be a really good game, but as it's not being played on American soil, it will probably be shit.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. It is the Berlin game. It's been a while without the international games. I just forget they happen after London. But yeah, international sale, Daniel Jones is going to have an absolute stinker in Berlin, and the Falcons are going to win because Germany loves the Falcons for some reason. So
They do.
So I'm going to go with the Falcons to get their random, probably like stupidly good win, and then they'll lose to like the Saints next week or something stupid, wherever they're playing. Next up, the Texans versus the Jags. I was quite tempted to flip this, but I'm very scared with Davis Mills under center for the Texans, if I'm being completely honest. I'll let you go first on this one.
Again, a bit like you just said that, I was quite tempted to go for the Texans here. The only thing that stopped me was Davis Mills, who, to be fair to him, did look serviceable when he came into the game last week. Obviously, he could have gotten the win if the Broncos didn't only play in the fourth quarter. But yeah, the Texans looked fine with him in. I'm struggling to pick the Jags after they've nearly lost 32 points against us. But I just think they've got enough. Look, they have been a good team this year. They've had a couple of poor games, but if you look at last week as a poor game that they've won, that for me is always a sign of a decent team, and a mentally very good team as well. So give me the Jags, but I don't think this is going to be like a whitewash at all. I think it's going to be a very close game.
Yeah, see, I'm at a crossroads because the Jags defense was absolutely terrible against the Raiders. Like we can't even sugarcoat it; it was garbage. But the Texans defense was really good against the Broncos, which again isn't much saying after how the Broncos performed on fucking Thursday Night Football. But the defense has been good in basically every game they've played this year. I can't remember a bad Texans defensive performance. It's just been the offense that's been behind. So a Jags team that seems to struggle against good defensive units. We saw it prime against the Rams in London, like a decent Rams defensive unit, and they absolutely wiped the floor with them. And they didn't have to do that much offensively because they were just giving up penalties left, right, and centre. So I'm still at a crossroads. Are you definitely sticking with the Jags? Because I'm
I'm
very.
gonna stick. I'm gonna stick with the Jags just because I don't think I've ever had a win where I flipped. Actually, no, I
You
have.
have
I picked the
Saints.
Saints against the Giants.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
but
I think we've also
obviously
one where we flipped, and that was it. But
last week's flip obviously didn't go to plan because the Bengals can't defend. So
my only thing is Davis Mills actually looked all right when he came into the game against the Broncos. Sorry, like he actually wasn't that bad at all against a
like I
very
said,
good defense.
he looked serviceable. He
Which
looked
against this
fine.
Jags defense, that's all you really need to be.
But I almost think that backup quarterbacks, this, stick with me for this statement, right? Backup quarterbacks usually look better when they actually come into a game. When they
Oh,
start a game, that's a whole different preparation throughout the week. The nerves can get to them throughout the week. So is it going to be the same Davis Mills or is it going to be actual Davis Mills? Who knows? But give me the Jags. I can't bring myself to back a Davis Mills under center Texans.
yeah, I think I might agree. I'll come back to it maybe later in the video. I'll have a think, but I'm going to stick with the Jags for now. Also, Jacoby Myers should make his Jags
Yeah.
debut in this one, so that should be interesting to see how much they utilize him in his first game. Obviously, it's a very tough test to come straight in and play against one of the best defenses in the league. But you have to step up because Brian Thomas is looking like he's not going to play this week, but he should be back for next week.
And you're
So
still trying to give him to me on fantasy.
I am. You got to trust the process.
You absolute fucking
Yeah, but
fraud.
he's not the main part. He's just a little extra in the deal.
I give me Egg Booker and it's done, man.
No. Next up, forgot about this. Yeah, the Bears versus the Giants. We've all gone with the Bears. Weirdly, again, I was tempted, but I just can't back us anymore. I just can't do it to myself. I just keep it's just the double depression of I lose and my predictions wrong when I back them. I just can't be bothered. Yeah, our secondary shit. Apparently the Colts supposedly tried to go for Deontay Banks and then ended up with Sauce Gardner. That
Some upgrade.
that is yeah, fucking hell. I wish they would have taken Banks. I would have personally given them. I probably would have given them a draft pick to take him
That
off.
that's like trying to go for a smackhead from Stoke and end up with Margot Robbie. That's insane.
But I would have given them like a sixth rounder just to get rid of him. Genuinely. But he's going to start no doubt and be shit again. My only thing is the Bears defense is crap. I don't think our offense is that bad. Our offensive line, I believe, was ranked second in the whole NFL last week for protection on Jackson Dart, which is good against a pretty decent 49ers defensive unit, all things considered. So it's not all doom and gloom on the offense side of the ball. Even the defense, I mean, it's just. I think Dexter Lawrence has been miles off it this year compared to what was the best defensive tackle in NFL last year before he got injured. I think he had like 8 sacks, 9 sacks for a D tackle, which is just ridiculous numbers. He's not even. I don't think he's recorded a sack all year. He has had that interception, but I think that's all he's done so far this year. But I just can't back us. I can't do it. As much as I do believe in Jackson Dart, and if anyone's got him on fantasy, because I do, he tends to pull up like 30 points a week at this point because his rushing upside's insane. But I just can't back it against the Bears team, which I really should be confident against because of how bad they were against the Bengals. But I feel like when you got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins versus Wandale Robertson and Darius Slayton, it's a bit of a different ball game. So I'm going to go with the Bears, but I'm not entirely sold on it. But I just can't back us again after how we've been playing the last couple of weeks, especially on the defensive side of the ball. After the Bears just put up 47 points against the Bengals, our defense I don't hold in much higher regard than the Bengals, especially the secondary. So I'm going with the Bears.
I must admit, right, I think, like you said, this is again a tough one to predict. On the face of it, you go Bears based off last week, but then you look at who the Bears played last week, which is basically like playing against a bunch of toddlers on the defense because they are shite. But I sort of agree with everything you said about the Giants. Like, you've got it in you to win this game. I have no doubt about that. One day Robinson is not a bad receiver, and I'm hoping that he has a really good game for my fantasy. But that being said, I just think the Bears look better this year. And you see last week against the Bengals, Ben Johnson finally delving into like his bag of tricks. Caleb Williams caught 2 balls. Do you know what I mean? If Ben Johnson keeps doing that, I see no reason this Bears team can't sneak into a wild card spot. If I'm being honest, I realise that's a big shout right now, but I see no reason they can't. I think they genuinely do look like a good side. I don't know whether they're going to bring Swift back in. I've not seen.
He practiced apparently.
I don't think they should. I think Mononga is probably better than him. But I know I've already said a lot about this game. I said a lot about the Bears. I just struggle to see a way in which the Giants win this game. But then on the same page, I also do see a way. I don't know. It's a really tough one. I'm very 50-50, but give me the Bears just solely based on the fact that I think they're better on offense.
If the Bears defense performs to the level the Bears defense performed against the Bengals, we have a chance.
But then I also do think that the Bengals almost drag people down to their level.
True.
When they play, it's so weird. Every team they play against, because obviously their defense gives up a hell of a lot of points. It's a lot of sudden changes, a lot of quick changes. So the other team's defense aren't having as big of a rest. And I can't help but think they almost drag people down to their level with that. It's the only way they're going to win is because they just tire out the other team's defense. But I don't think this game's going to be anything like that game. So give me the Bears.
Yeah, I just can't back it personally until we fire someone or everyone. To be honest, I'm just not arsed with this franchise. There's so much potential in this team. I think next year will be a lot better with everyone back and hopefully another receiver added in the draft in the first round to add to that weapons room for Jackson Dart. I feel like that could be ridiculously good if we got a Jordan Tyson or a Carnell Tate. But I think this one should go to the Bears just about. I will also say that Cam Scatterbury still leads the league in rookie touchdowns in general. And
how many did he score?
He's got 7.
I swear. I mean, I could be miles off. Hold on. Carry on. Well,
if you're on about Genty, he has 6.
I swear they said last night he got 8. But
unless the tweet was out before last night's game, I didn't read what time the tweet came out, but Genty might have surpassed him now. But either way, the fact he was still in that race is a bit nuts.
He has been really, really good. I don't disagree with that.
So when he comes back, when Malik Neighbours comes back, I think we'll be fine. We'll move on while Kian does a little bit of research. You should hurry up because you are the only one who's gone differently here. This was another. It's a very hard week. As much as you might not see a lot of differential in our predictions,
it is tough.
It's a very tough. I think it's the toughest week we've had so far in terms of picking what team. Vikings versus the Ravens this time. Me and Max have gone with the Ravens, and Kian has gone with the Vikings coming off their big win against Detroit. Obviously, the Ravens, we know the situation they're in. They're sort of win or bust for the rest of the season in pretty much every game. So, unless you're still researching, do you want me to go first?
You go first. I'm still researching.
Okay. I've gone with the Ravens. I think they know they have to win to keep their season alive. The Vikings, actually, they did beat the Lions. I don't think the Lions were not anywhere near their best at all. I also think the Vikings, if you look at the way they scored, as Kian, I think it was either you or someone mentioned on the One Thing We Learned video, but it was not really convincing from JJ McCarthy in all the ways. He was good, but he wasn't amazing. And I think when you play against the Ravens defense, which is now fully healthy, I believe I saw their injury report had no one on it the other day. So they're good to go in basically all areas. I think, you look at the potential for Zay Flowers to have a big game. The Vikings defense is good, but the Ravens is probably better. And I think the Ravens offense shows a lot more excitement than the Vikings. And I think JJ McCarthy is going to struggle a lot under the pressure of the Ravens defense.
They've both got 7.
They've both got 7. So the fact he's still tied is nuts. When did he Eagles? 2-3 weeks ago when he's still top?
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Ridiculous.
So on to this game. Sorry, I really wanted to know because I could have sworn on Amazon last night they said that he'd scored 8. I don't know. But onto this, I really, really, really nearly went Ravens here, but I struggled to pick against the Vikings team of just beating the Lions. I know the Lions haven't been that team yet that we thought they were going to be this year. Bear in mind they've still been a great team. But JJ McCarthy made a statement win last week with his alter ego 9, which I won't get into. But
he's only done that because he had to abandon the fucking Star Wars gimmick because Jackson Dart's better than him and took it over.
But yeah, I just think that the Vikings can pull off these kind of results. It is doable, but I don't know. I'm sort of tempted to flip this, but at the same time, I don't want to make it boring.
Can you not
So,
flip this? Because I don't want every time you flip it's wrong, so that means I'm going to be wrong.
well, my issue was I did my predictions 2 days ago. The list that I sent into the group chat earlier.
Right.
I also did a list today. Today's list had the Ravens on it. I sent the other day's list, but I'm not going to flip it. I'm going to give you no reason not to flip it. Just give me the Vikings, man. I think they've got what it takes, but I also don't think they do have what it takes. But yeah, give me the Vikings and we'll just move on. But this could be a really good game.
I will also say as well that Mark Andrews has been on form in recent times, and I think that could be a big part of this game. But actually, I just don't see a world where I don't know, just not see a world. I just think I'd be amazed if the Vikings did 2 wins like the Lions game in a row against a Ravens team that's basically do or die for the rest of the season.
I do think, though, if they do win this game, we do need to start taking them a bit more seriously.
Yeah, I think the Ravens know that if they win this game, they're pretty much in the clear because they then move to play the Browns, Jets, and Bengals in the next 3 games,
which will be whitewashes.
So they should end up positive record after that, and then they've got Steelers, Bengals again, Patriots, Packers, and Steelers. So they really need to win games like this because it's going to get really tough for them towards the end of the season. So I think they need to get through these sort of easier games.
I think if they do miss out on the playoffs, I think that'll be Harbaugh gone.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think he's almost playing for his career here.
Yeah, so he's going to
go for his career.
Going to go aggressive, and I think they'll win.
Nailed on.
Next up, and this is just fucking horrendous.
That just looks wrong.
I don't think we've ever had this on the podcast. Someone can no one's going to do it, but if someone wants to go back and check, you feel free. But I'm convinced we've never seen this before. The Jets versus the Browns. We've gone for a Browns sweep. And I think there's not really much to say about it because as much as you think, the Browns, you must have to justify it in one way. When they're playing the Jets, you probably don't.
I'll give you my justification for it.
Okay.
Because I do actually have one. The Browns defense can be really good when it wants to be. This Jets team is struggling on offense. It's struggling. I know they've got Breece Hall. He's not been anywhere near as good this year. Justin Fields is struggling. They're all struggling. This is a struggling football team, and when you're under the pressure of playing against the Browns defense and Myles Garrett, you're fucked. And they also obviously lost 2 massive defensive pieces. Not that I think the Browns can capitalize on that at all. I would probably put money on there being no touchdown in this game. But yeah, I just think the defense for the Browns will end up being the thing that gets this game done. But I don't think we're going to see it on red zone a whole lot, I'll be honest.
It's one of them games where the Browns defense is either going to shut them out like they did in Miami, or they're going to have a complete blow up, and this game is going to be like the Bengals Bears, like just stupidly bad. But I just don't think either team has the offensive power to make it a game like that. As you said, the Jets' offense has been bad all year. The Browns has been even worse all year. I mean, how many games? I think they've one game with more than 18 points.
Yeah,
in the entire season. I mean, that's just ridiculously bad. I mean, obviously for the Jets, they're coming off what is their first win of the season against the Bengals in another great game. The Bengals are great to watch in a minute because it's just an absolute shit show for the whole time.
I actually think I said this last year. They probably are the most exciting team to watch in the NFL for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, for every wrong reason. But the Jets, I'm tempted to flip it because if you look at their last 4 games, they lost by 2 points to an 8-2 Broncos team. They lost by 1 score to a 5-4 Panthers, and they beat the Bengals. Again, the offensive power is bad. 11 points against the Broncos, 6 points against the Panthers, but then 39 against the Bengals. Again, I think you have to preface the Bengals defense.
If you put me, you, and Max on an NFL roster against the Bengals, I still think we'd put 20 points off at least.
To be fair, yeah. It's difficult. I can't really back against the Browns because there's no common sense logic to back against the Jets, but they went into the bye on a win. And they're coming off a bye. I'm assuming they're going to take clean slate and just see how many games they can win for the rest of the year. If I was them, I personally wouldn't, and I would lose every fucking game because you'd be stupid not to at this point. To get the first pick, I'd probably take Ty Simpson or Dante Moore or Fernando Mendoza, whoever you want. But again, my main thing with the Jets is what they do in the draft will be depending on how Justin Fields plays for the rest of the season. So that might put pressure on him to start performing.
I don't even think that Justin Fields' performances are going to matter.
I don't think so, but I think he knows he's got to do something special if he has any chance of keeping his job. So I wouldn't be.
I don't disagree, but even then, I genuinely do believe he could play MVP level to the end of the year, and they'd still take one of Mendoza, Moore, or Simpson if they
Probably,
was in that position.
but I won't change it. But I will say I won't be surprised if the Jets win at all. Is what I'll say. And this is when I
No, me
always
too.
do this, and I never flip it, and I'm always wrong to not flip it. So can't wait for the Jets to win. I'm going to be fuming, but give me the Browns. Next up, game of the week. I think it has to be.
Yes, I think it's close.
The Bucks versus the Patriots, obviously two of the best teams in the NFL at the minute. I don't think that's unfair to say on anyone else. Yeah, definitely game of the week. I'm looking for the rest of this slate. There's maybe one game that can compare to this, and it's still not that close. Yeah, this is two very, very good teams. I've gone with the Bucks, and my main justification is if you look at the teams the Patriots have beaten, bar the Bills, they're all shit. And again, you can only beat what's in front of you, and I totally get it. But they're all really shit. I mean, if we just run through it, they've beaten the Dolphins. They also lost to the Raiders, which is also something to bear in mind.
I still don't know how.
They beat the Dolphins, Panthers, Bills, Saints, Titans, Browns, Falcons so far this season.
But me playing devil's advocate there a little bit is they know that they've beaten them teams. They know they need to make a bit of a statement. Well, they don't need
Yeah.
to, but it'd be good to. And who better to do it against than someone who's in MVP form and Baker Mayfield in the Bucks?
True. I will say the Bucks have had some. I mean, the two games they've lost was to the Lions and Eagles, which are probably the two hardest teams they've played. But obviously, you look at it, they lost by 6 to the Eagles, and they lost quite convincingly to the Lions in the end. But they've also beaten the Texans. They've beaten the Seahawks, who have been one of the best teams in football in the last 5-6 weeks. So I think there's just a bit more quality in this Bucks team. Obviously, you've got. I think I believe they're coming off a bye as well, so they're going to be fresh and ready to go. Hopefully, Emeka Egbuka does something for fantasy reasons. But yeah, I'm not sure on the Patriots yet. If they win this, then I think they're a proper team to consider in contention for just everything this season. But they're yet to beat a team that's really done anything of note this season. So I think that's my main worry, and that's why I'm going with the Bucks. I'm just not sold entirely on this Patriots team just yet. But I'm not saying they're bad by any means. I just need to see them beat a good team before I can back them against a team like the Bucks.
My prediction here is very much that of a Chargers fan, with it meaning there's a lot of hypotheticals involved. But this is a sport that relies heavily on momentum. If a team's got a lot of good momentum, you'll see it when they're playing, right? I'm not saying the Bucks haven't, but they've just had a week off. I know you said they'll be well rested, but this is a Tampa Bay team that grinded out a result and still won last week in a game that they probably shouldn't have. And, that does massive things for their momentum. I think they're going to go into this game on an all-time high. And Drake May is playing the form of his life, and it's only his second season. I think he's without Keishon Boutte, which isn't great. I don't think he practiced yesterday. So, it's a big miss. But I do think they've got enough. I think it'll be a great game, like you said, game of the week. But I just think they're going to come into this with a lot of momentum. Tampa Bay could start rusty, having had a week off. We'll see. But yeah, give me the Patriots, man. I just think that as much as I dislike the whole franchise, they've got a serious chance this year, especially if they win this game.
He didn't practice today, either did Keishon Boutte, but my main gripe with the Patriots as well is they, as you said, they grinded out the result against the Falcons. But if Parker Owen makes the extra point, there is a good chance they go on to lose that game with the way the game was shifting.
I don't disagree, but obviously you're quite a big advocate of the Broncos. If, for example, Daniel Carlson makes that kick yesterday, there's no guarantee they beat us in overtime.
No, I think the Broncos. I have the same opinion of the Broncos I do of the Patriots, that they're yet to beat a good team. They're both in a very similar boat. Neither team have beaten anyone amazing. So I hold the same reservations with Denver as I do with the Patriots. But obviously, the Broncos play the Raiders this week, so it's pretty much a given no matter what I thought. But we'll move on. You're welcome. Move on to fucking hell, this is just ridiculous now.
There's nothing to say.
Well, in fairness, I say it's ridiculous, but it's not, because the Panthers are just quite good at the minute.
Yeah.
This is finally a franchise that have found a way to win games. I mean, it's how many years and years and years, basically since Cam Newton fell off a cliff and then into retirement, we've not seen this Panthers team win games. It just hasn't happened. They've gone through the quarterback cycle of about 400 quarterbacks and none of them worked. And then, they've landed on Bryce Young, and that didn't work for the first couple of years. But now, this year, we're sort of seeing a different version of Bryce Young. Again, he's not been amazing, but to be honest, I think the big focal point is Rico Dowdle. He's on absolute fire for the Panthers. But coming into this, they've won four out of the last 5 games, and their only loss, obviously, being a blowout to the Bills. But obviously, that's very forgivable, losing to a team like the Bills in that kind of fashion. So the Saints, I just feel like with Tyler Shuck, you just can't bat them. I think the Saints will be picking first overall, in all honesty. And as much as they drafted a quarterback in Tyler Shuck, I think they'll be drafting another one. So yeah, I'm going with the Panthers. Pretty self-explanatory. They're just in good form. So no doubt the Saints will win this because everything directs to a fucking Panthers win. So the Saints will blow them out or something stupid.
I mean, the OAP Tyler Shock. Sorry, I'm just researching something else based on what you've just said. But I'll talk while I'm doing it. The OAP Tyler Shock has just lost one of his biggest weapons on the offense. They've traded away Shaheed, who he's not a young quarterback. For a rookie quarterback, having a speedster flying down is never a bad thing. It's a decent little safety valve, and he's just lost that. Whereas the Panthers, like you said, have been really, really good. I don't really know how, to be honest. But like you said, I'm trying to find their historical records because obviously you mentioned. I genuinely do think the last time they had a winning record was the Cam Newton Super Bowl season.
I don't remember a time after that. And we're also talking about a Panthers team that just beat the Packers as well.
No. 2017, they won 11 games. But Newton was still there.
I was going to say.
Newton was still
there. They didn't do that without Cam Newton.
No. Newton left the year after, and then they finished 5-11, 5-11, 5-12, 7-10, 2-15, 5-12. And they've already got more wins. Well, they've got the same amount of wins this year than they have for the whole of last year. Like I said, they went into Lambeau, which is historically a really hard place to go in and win, and grinded out a massive result there. I just think they just look a better team as well. I think they'll beat the Saints this week.
Give the ball to Rico Dowdle, and good things will happen. Is all I have to say about it.
How has this happened with Dowdle, by the way?
It's ridiculous. I mean, was he like 3rd or 4th in rushing yards, and he's only played like 4 games?
It's insane. I didn't expect that at all.
It's insanity.
When they actually brought him up, when they picked him up, when Chuba Hubbard went down, I thought they could be a bit fucked. He's been better. And that's no gripe on Chuba Hubbard because I think Chuba Hubbard is a good NFL running back. But Rico Dowdle has just taken that rushing offense to the next level. And I think that gives Bryce a little bit of leeway as well. There's a lot less pressure on Bryce Young to do everything, Yeah. He can hand the ball off and he's got a running back who might get him 4 or 5 yards on the first play. And suddenly that pressure's taken off because you can hand it back to him on 3rd. So I think it really is helping Bryce Young having a good running game. I think they'll win this game. They're going to move to 6-4, which for a Panthers team is just ridiculous. So, yeah, you're going to Panthers.
Yeah, it's nuts. But, go with the Panthers. Just pretty self-explanatory. Next up, the Dolphins versus the Bills. And again, self-explanatory. Just a fun fact for you. The last 10 games these two franchises have played against each other, the Bills have won 9 of them. So just to put that into a bit of perspective for how bad this Dolphins team has been. The last time they won was 2022. Where Josh Allen threw for 400 yards and lost.
That's insane.
Which is interesting. I'm actually trying to work out how on earth that happened. I don't really know. There's nothing here to suggest why they've done that. Didn't even throw an interception.
Maybe they were just on fire that day. To be fair, the Dolphins weren't as bad as they are now a couple of years ago.
Just interesting. Oh, there was a blocked punt safety in that game.
All right, fair enough. I'm sure that's exactly what did it.
And then he fumbles, so maybe that. But yeah, Bills obviously very, very good. I think there's no denying that. As if there was at any point, there definitely isn't anymore. Although when these teams played earlier in the season, it was a lot closer than we anticipated, but the Bills still got there. And I think these teams have trended in very opposite directions. Obviously, the Bills had their weird run where they lost to the Patriots and the Falcons in back-to-back weeks. But then since then, they blew out the Panthers, and then they go to beat the Chiefs. Again, in pretty standard practice, it always tends to happen in the regular season. But to do that against a very on-form Chiefs team is very impressive. And I think with the Bills having the Bucks, Bills, and Steelers next to come, they know they need to win games like this just to boost themselves safely into a playoff spot, and more importantly, keep up with the Patriots, because at this rate they're going to win this division, so they've got to keep winning, and I think they will against a fairly, I think, safe to say, shite Dolphins team.
I was really impressed with the Bills last week. I know obviously it's customary; they always beat the Chiefs in the regular season, but that's the Bills team that we expected at the start of the year. It's certainly the Josh Allen we expected at the start of the year. And if they do that against this Dolphins team, it's going to be a long day for the group from Miami. I mean, this game was so exciting last time that halfway through the game, they panned to Tyreek Hill and said, "Oh, by the way, he beats his wife." So this it clearly wasn't the best game. It's the most Thursday night football game of all time. I don't really. It's rare you see this played on a Sunday,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just think there's. You basically said all that needs to be said. Buffalo are just a better team. They're trending in the right direction now, and I think they are. We sort of overlooked them after their sort of weird run, but they're still the Buffalo Bills. They'll still be there or thereabouts at the end of the year. I think I've still got them going to the Super Bowl, which I know might be a wild shout based on how other teams are performing. But yeah, I think this could be their year, especially in a year where the favourites and the big dogs in the NFL aren't performing. I don't think there's ever been a better year for Josh Allen to go and finally get that ring.
I don't
So,
disagree. It's not going to be mental to see them in the Super Bowl, but for me, yeah, I just can't back the Dolphins. I think the last 3 games they went from single digit points to 34 points to single digit points again.
How is McDaniel still in a job?
It baffles me. He's safe. He's safe in a job as well. It's not even on the brink. He is safe. Apparently, he's got a job to the end of the year, no matter what happens.
Fucking
Which
hell.
is borderline fucking ridiculous. But yeah, this Dolphins team has just gone from what seems to be a team they playoffs every year to just garbage for the last 2 years. And I think now Tyreek's gone. I think they announced a while ago they're going to cut him when it comes to the end of the season. So they're going to cut ties with him. Jalen Waddle's going to be in interest of trades. I think you just hit reset, to be honest, if you're the Dolphins. Would I be surprised to see him take a quarterback in the draft?
I think they could lose enough games to get a decent quarterback in the draft. If they don't get one in the first round, I think you're going to see players like Lenoris Sellers fall to the second.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at your first round prospects, you've obviously got your Fernando Mendozas, you've got your Ty Simpsons, you've got your Dante Moores. But apart from that, again, even then, I'm not entirely sold on so far as long term franchise options. But
No. For me, Ty Simpson looks the best currently.
Yeah, I do quite like Lenoris Sellers, in all honesty. If you get him in a later round, I'd definitely take a punt because he's got all the physical attributes that you want from a quarterback. So, but I'd be intrigued to see if they did that, because they did take Quinn Ewers in last year's draft,
Yes,
who
they
was
did. I forgot about that.
a fairly respectable player in his time at Texas. Obviously, won quite a few awards and stuff for Texas, but again, he came into a game, didn't look amazing. If I was him, if I was McDaniel, I'd just bench Tua and just see if Ewers has got anything. Genuinely, just give him a go. I don't see what harm it can do at this point. You're not making the postseason, so you might as well just chuck him in and see what he's got, because Tua clearly isn't your long-term option. But
No.
Going with the Bills to beat the Dolphins. Next up, another similar agreement: the Seahawks against the Cardinals. Weirdly, I was tempted with the Cardinals because it just seems like one of them games where the stupid team's going to win for no reason. I was just screaming out to me as one of them games, but I think the Cardinals have looked better since Jacoby Brissett came in as a starter. I think they look like a much more respectable team since he's been under center rather than midget man.
Well, they've no longer got a pitcher playing American football, so they look a little bit better now. Yeah,
a 5-foot pitcher as well. Not even
yeah.
they haven't got a dwarf playing quarterback anymore, so they're actually doing all right. They get their win against the Cowboys. They weren't bad against the Packers and Colts either. So again, it seems like a team that's on an okay track, but the Seahawks team have been brilliant. They've only lost twice this season, won 3 of their last 3, won 6 of their last 7 games. They're only lost there coming to the Bucks and 49ers in the first week of the season. So for me, yeah, I just can't. As much as I feel like this is one of them stupid games, and I'm sure I'll come back to this and hit punch myself and not making this prediction, I'm going with the Seahawks. I can't back against how good, especially like JSN and Darnold have been in the last couple of weeks. So and we're now with Shaheed as well, as we mentioned, with the Saints. So yeah, definitely for me, I'm going with the Seahawks.
For me, this Seahawks team is probably the most informed team in football. They've been unbelievable recently. I genuinely didn't expect Darnold to continue last year's form into this year. It's still Sam Darnold, but at what point can we stop saying, "Oh, the typical Darnold's back"? Because is this now the typical Darnold? He's
I told you,
genuinely.
mate. It's Kevin O'Connell effect. Saves
Yeah, but if we're saying that, then Daniel Jones is going to have the Kevin O'Connell effect as well. But
At
yeah,
least Arnold played under Kevin O'Connell.
yeah, true. They've looked really good. As you said, look, they've added another weapon. I am personally a big fan of their run game. I like how they alternate between Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. I think they're both very, very good at what they
My
do.
sleeper team doesn't like how they alternate between Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker.
My fantasy does because I've got Charbonnet and he gets all the touchdowns.
I've got fucking Kenneth Walker.
But yeah, I just think they're a very hard team to beat. I know obviously you said the Cardinals have been better without Kyler Murray. I don't know how long that's going to last. It's just still Jacoby Brissett at the end of the day. We'll see. I struggle to see a way in which the Cardinals win this game, just because of how good the Seahawks have been. So give me the Seahawks.
Yeah, my logic's purely on, as Max said every week, someone shit will win at some point.
I don't think I've backed any shit teams this week, but I might flip one later on.
This just screamed out to me as one of them games, but I'm sticking with the Seahawks to actually have a chance of staying in the predictions race, because if this is wrong, then I'm going to be screwed. Because I've already gone edgy on quite a few, so I'll leave this one alone. Not going edgy on this one, though. The 49ers versus the Rams. Obviously, you know how much I love the Rams and how much I think they're going all the way this year, at least to the Super Bowl. I believe they came in at top of the power rankings this week, so it looks like
I saw a power rankings. Sorry to cut you off. I forget who did it. Would you like to guess what team were number one?
Chiefs, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they were.
You can't put them number one.
No.
But that's what I think the Rams came in top of the power rankings this week. So my Super Bowl prediction looking ever better by the week. But this is a Rams team that goes from strength to strength, apart from Puka Nacua heading to the injury tent once every game for no reason. Apparently he's fine. He could have come back into that game, and apparently he's good to go for this one. And I think this 49ers, who gave up a touchdown to Gunnar Olszewski last week, are going to struggle to stop Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Devontae Adams, etc., Tyler Higbee, Davis Allen. I could keep going. So Blake Corum, just a ridiculous.
Blake Corum.
For some reason, I wasn't complaining last week because he took half of Kyron's touches off him, so it saved me in fantasy a bit. But yeah, I'm going with the Rams. Self-explanatory. I don't think I'll back against the Rams all season, to be honest. I just really like them for no reason. Just can't explain it. I just do quite like them. I think that I've seen them in person as well. It fueled it even more, seeing them play in person. They were so good. So I'm going with the Rams. It's my Super Bowl team. I have put money on it as well for them to get to the Super Bowl. So we'll keep that in touch. But yeah, give me the Rams.
After this last week, I've got no money to put on it, but I could see it happening. I struggle to see, again, I know I've said it a few times, I struggle to see a way in which the Niners win this game, which is weird because they do find a way to beat a lot of teams, but I just think this is just a level above. McCaffrey will likely get his customary touchdown, but apart from that, this Rams team has just been so good this year. Matthew Stafford is a future Hall of Famer. Let's not get that twisted. He absolutely is, and he's so good in London. I couldn't believe how good it was to actually watch him live. Everything he does is just exceptional, and I struggle to see a way in which the Niners win this game, especially with so many injuries. Every week they get a new injury. I wonder who it will be this week. Any predictions?
It was Michael Williams last week. At this point, it could be fucking anyone.
I'm going to go Matt Jones.
Yeah, is he not already injured?
No, I'm going to go season ender Matt Jones.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go. I'm going to go Trent Williams.
Oh, that'd be a killer.
Killer dagger injury to Trent Williams to sacrifice to keep Christian McCaffrey healthy for another week.
That's all they're doing. I'm convinced they're like swapping body parts out and giving it to McCaffrey. But yeah, like you said, this Rams team has just been so good, and I think they're going to have too much for the Niners this week. So give me the Rams.
Agreed. Next up. Oh, fucking hell, it's just it is quite repetitive. As I said, it was a tough week to call, but
this wasn't tough.
This one wasn't tough, no. Welcome back to the NFC's basement, Washington Commanders.
This would have been tough had Jaden Daniels' elbow not have decided to.
Still don't think it would have been.
It would have been tougher. Had his elbow.
The Commanders' secondary is the only one in the league, by the Bengals, that rivals ours for being shite.
His wrist was in Washington, and his fucking whatever you call it, his elbow was in New York, mate. It was disgusting.
It was a horrible video,
but I see no way they win this game. They've not been nowhere near as good this year. Even when Daniels has been playing, they've been nowhere near as good. And a Marcus Mariota-led team is not going to beat the Detroit Lions. The Lions are going to be angry based after last week. That's a game they probably didn't expect to lose to the JJ McCarthy-led Vikings. So I think they're going to be angry. I think they're going to put up a lot of points. And don't forget, this is the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year. When the Lions fans probably thought it was their best ever chance. It's probably fair to say. So they're not. This is a bit of a revenge game for Dan Campbell and the Lions. So I think they're going to get their revenge and some fucking more. So give me the Lions.
Yeah, this is going to be a fucking fisting. I hate the Commanders, so it's brilliant to see them be shit because they deserve to be in the pits with us. They're 1 year of escape. It's like we've both done it. We had our playoff year in 2022 where we got out of the pit for a year and they came straight back, and they had their playoff year last year where they were and they've come straight back down to earth. Yeah, Lions are going to be pissed off with this Commanders team. This secondary's garbage. I'm not saying Marshawn Lattimore was good. He's not, but they lost him to an ACL injury, which just makes it even worse. Arguably, you could say it makes it better because he is.
I'd say it probably does. He's been terrible.
They might be better off, but it's just shit. It's just a dog shit defense, and I think they're going to get run all over by what is probably the best offense in the league when they're going. So be prepared for big numbers from Jared Goff in this game because he's going to be fuming after turning the ball over a few times in that big playoff game last year at Ford Field. So yeah, I just can't see a world where the Commanders do anything of note in this game. And
to give you an insight into how big of a shock that game at Ford Field was last year, I was at the football the day after, so I was asleep while that game was happening.
Same.
I woke up, I didn't check the score, I just thought, yeah, they've probably beat them. I got on the train to go to the football, I went on Twitter, and genuinely in the middle of the train just went, oh my fucking God. Like, quite loud. There was family staring at me like I was some sort of weirdo. But, yeah, it was just insane. I couldn't believe it. So, yeah, they're not going to be happy. They're going to want to fucking kill them.
If you want even more context, I watched half of this game and went to bed at halftime thinking the Lions were going to win. And I checked my phone and I had to check about 4 times to make sure it was the right game I was looking at. So yeah, I was fuming. But yeah, 49ers. Commanders back in the pits where they belong, and the Lions are going to absolutely dog walk them for 50 points in this one. Next up, I'm finally a bit of difference. I'm going with the Steelers, and I'm doing this because I said last week the Steelers are going to beat the Colts, and I refused to back the prediction and scared of me getting it wrong, and they did. So I'm not making the same mistake twice. I really think the Steelers are going to do it again and upset another team in the NFL. I think it's going to be the Chargers, who for me just haven't been all too convincing. I mean, they struggled against the fucking Titans defense, and the Steelers defense has just gone off their best game of the year. So I think they'll win this. I really do. I think, even the offense is good. The Chargers defense has been good. Joe Alt is out for the season, as we mentioned. So losing him makes it a whole lot harder for both Herbert and Kamani Vidal. So there goes your sort of protection down quite a bit, because we saw the one game without Joe Alt that we saw before this when he came out injured was the Giants, and we know how that one ended. So if we could do it, then the Steelers definitely can, because we're fucking dog shit. So I'm going with the Steelers. I really do think they'll win this, and I'm going for a slight upset, not really, but as based on the other two predictions, I suppose it is a bit of an upset. But give me the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I also nearly flipped before you started talking then, but I'm going to stick to my guns, because the whole reason that I went for the Chargers was they need to keep pace with the Broncos. I realised that home field advantage doesn't really exist for the LA Chargers, but if you're in the playoffs, you want to be playing similar surroundings, your home stadium. So they're going to want to finish top of our division, and we're going to want to try and have the best record in the AFC. The Broncos obviously won last night, which I think puts them maybe 2 games back, but obviously with a game in hand. So they need to win this game. I know they struggled last week, but they obviously still got it done. I obviously also know it was the Titans. They are the hypothetical team. We all know this. They are the if men. But I think they're going to win this, get a bit of the hype back up. Everyone's going to say, the Chargers. Everyone's going to remind us that the NFL is going to have a predicament if them and the Rams are playing on the same championship Sunday at home. It's not going to happen. But yeah, just give me the Chargers. I don't want to speak good about them because I hate them. But at the same time, I just think this is a game they need to win. And they've shown before, when it's not a playoff situation, they win the must-wins. When it is a playoff situation, Justin Herbert throws 4 picks and they get knocked out. But yeah, give me the Chargers for now.
Yeah, I'm going Steelers. I just think this is a sort of game that they'll win. I think they'll thrive.
I think the Steelers will win. I genuinely do think the Steelers will win. I just don't want to flip it.
Yeah, thanks. Might have a chance now. Next up, I believe, is this our last game? Yes, it is. So our last game of the week, the Packers versus the Eagles, and had Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown not practiced today, I think I might have gone a different direction with this one. But a Packers team coming off of loss to the Panthers, it's very difficult to go against the Eagles, and we have all predicted accordingly, as we've all predicted them to beat the Packers. Yeah, I mean, you can start because I've started the last few.
Fuck, I was thinking of a question for the end there, but I'll
If you carry on.
No, it's all good. I'll start.
Okay.
We just watched this Packers team lose to the Panthers. And this is an Eagle team that for me every week is looking better again. They've made some big trades, as we know, for small prices. And I just think they're just going to have far too much for Green Bay. This is not the Green Bay we thought it was going to be at the start of the year. I feel like I'm saying that. I feel like I'm saying that every single week.
That you thought they'd be.
Okay, this is not the Green Bay that a lot of NFL fans thought they were going to be at the start of the year. Maybe Jordan Love isn't that guy. Who knows? But I just think the Eagles are just too good for what Green Bay have. And I just give me the Eagles because I struggle to see a way in which Green Bay win this game. But equally, this is the type of game Green Bay will win. Everyone will get really excited about the Green Bay Packers again. And then they'll lose to, I don't know, the fucking... Let me think. I don't know, Clemson or something. Do you know what I mean? Like they'll go and lose to some college team because that's just what they do. The Packers.
At least picked a good college team.
But yeah, but Cade Klubnik's shit. So
exactly.
But yeah, give me the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't want to back the Eagles. I never do, but unfortunately, they are quite good. I will say the one team I've been pretty much dead on about this season, as far as what I said pre-season, is the Packers. I didn't back them to win the division. I said I'm still not convinced by Jordan Love. And I said I still don't think the offense is at the level it needs to be to compete. And I don't think any of them things are unfair to say about them at this point in the season still. I think, I don't think they'll win the division. I think the Lions will, despite their loss to the Vikings. I still think they win that division. I think the offense hasn't lived up to the mark of what we expected. I said they need a number one receiver option. They didn't get one. They still don't have one, and they're still struggling without one. I mean, their best receiver was Tucker Kraft, who's now gone down with an ACL injury, so it makes it even worse for the Packers for the rest of the year. And Jordan Love, I'm just not sold. I just don't think he's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. I don't think he is. So I'm fairly convinced the Eagles are going to win this one. I'm fairly convinced the Packers are going to hit a bit of a slump here because their best receiver is out. He's out for the rest of the season. And I think that's going to harm their playoff chances massively. I think they still will make the playoffs, but the chance of them doing anything in the playoffs for me is slim by the day. Their big savior is the defense, obviously, and they've relied on that a lot. When you have Micah Parsons, when you have Rashawn Gary, it's hard to go against it. But the secondary isn't amazing. I think obviously they've got a very good D line, but I just don't think the Packers are a Super Bowl contending team as much as people thought they would be at the start of the year. I wasn't sold, and I'm even less sold now in Week 10 as I was in Week 1.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I have got as a question, by the way.
Okay. Are we done with our predictions?
I believe I am. I went Eagles easy.
I am done, yeah. So we'll leave that. That's our predictions done. And now Kian has a question.
So, CBS Sports released a article on bear with me, the 2nd of August 2025, named every NFL team's most likely future Hall of Famer.
Okay.
I'm going to give you some teams, and I just want you to tell me who CBS Sports think is their most likely future Hall of Famer, starting with the Atlanta Falcons.
Jesse Bates?
No.
Not Jesse Bates. Drake London? Oh, Bijan. Fucking hell.
Bijan, yes. So, next up, we will go for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
When was it released?
The 2nd of August.
It's Brian Thomas, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I was thinking because he's the only one who like going into the season had any sort of like that sort of level potential.
New England Patriots.
Is it Drake May?
No.
Trying to think who was good last year to make him think, well, it has been good for a while.
Don't think he'll have a Hall of Fame career. Personally, he's been playing quite well. I don't think he'll be in the Hall of Fame.
Is he like young or is he old?
He's a bit older. He's if he's in it, he won't be a first balloter.
Bit older. The Patriots. It's not Pop Douglas, is it?
No.
What side of the ball?
Offense.
Offensive Patriot. I'm really struggling here. It's not going to be like a running back. It's not going to be Ramondre.
No, I'll give you another hint. It's a receiver.
I'm trying to think. Does Diggs count?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
I'm personally not having it. I think Drake May's got more chance of being in the Hall of Fame than Stephon Diggs. I'm going to give you two more.
Okay.
At the New York Giants, who is your most likely future Hall of Famer?
The MetLife turf for claiming somebody victim.
No, it's not that.
It's Russ, isn't it? I think it has to be. Yeah.
Yes, it is. I'll give you one more.
Which, in fairness, it's probably fair.
It probably is fair, but when they're putting like Brian Thomas, they could probably, stretch to. Let me find just one more.
Malik Neighbours, surely.
One here.
I feel like it would have been Malik Neighbours had Russell Wilson not been on the
Yeah,
roster.
probably. The Green Bay Packers. That's my final one. I'll give you the Green Bay Packers.
Josh Jacobs.
I didn't think you'd get it straight away, so I'm going to give you one more.
Okay.
Fuck it. Let's just go right up to the top. The Arizona Cardinals.
It's going to be Buda Baker.
It is Buda Baker. There you go. That was quite a fun game. If you actually, when we finish this, go and read this, because some of the people they've got being Hall of Famers is just insane. Obviously, the Packers one probably would change now, because on here they've got Dallas Cowboys, Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the players they've got making the Hall of Fame is just insane. So anyone who's watching and has made it this far into the video, first, well done. Secondly, please go and read that article, because it's whoever's being paid to write that. I will have your job.
But that is all we have for you for this week. So as always, we will see you all next week for our One Thing We Learned video. But thanks to Kian for joining me as always, and we will see you then.
Go Vols.